We're going to move on to our second speaker, Steve Lanham. He will be speaking about If I Were King. What would you do if you were king for a day? Today's second speaker has ascended to the throne of District 40's Toastmasters, at least in his mind. As the new district dictator, he's been pondering how to improve the role of the public relations manager, where he has served for the past 2 years. He'd like to share his thoughts in his proposed title, PRM, If I Were King. Please welcome to the lectern, Steve Lanham.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, come June 30th, I will be drawing to a close my term as District 40 Public Relations Manager. Sometimes when I think about it, it feels like I just started. And other times, it feels like I've been doing this for a lifetime. But today, I'd like to list 4 areas that if I were king for the day, this is what I would suggest to my successor as Public Relations Manager for District 40. 4 areas that I'd like to touch on: internal communication, external communication, support of our club vice presidents of public relations, and some non-public relations activities that we might want to shift elsewhere. So first, let's look at internal communications. The first thing that we should continue to do is the weekly news bulletin that goes out to all of our members in District 40. This has been very effective in communicating timely information to members as things come up. And this is something that our public relations team over the last 2 years started. And before this weekly news bulletin was part of our regular routine, we found ourselves sending emails out for this and that on a shotgun basis. It was like we were just gallivanting around in the social media space that was part of our district. But we combined that into a weekly newsletter, and I would recommend that we continue doing that. Secondly, we need to continue to have our vibrant and fresh member-facing website. Again, something that we moved to Free Toast Toast. And when I say we, I mean Arlene. Thanks to Arlene, we have a very effective website that members can use and go to for information that is there for all time, but also information that is fresh every week. So thanks to Arlene for doing that. She has basically transformed the district members section website into something that was once an embarrassment, transformed it from that into something that we can look at with pride and that we can use for whatever comes up. The third thing under internal communication that we need to continue in this proposal of mine is the bi-monthly newsletter. And this was there before, but it is continuing on. And one of the things that we have tried to do is to make this bi-monthly newsletter more of a feature-based, human interest related newsletter instead of just facts and figures and information. And we are making progress towards that, but are we there? Not quite. And then continue the last item here, our social media post. And we do a great job of posting on Facebook, and we're getting there with other social media platforms like Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is an area that the district would really like us to look into, because that's something that we can used on a professional basis. A lot of people go there for that. So that's our internal communications proposal for the incoming public relations manager. Next, external communication. Now, this is part of PR that, unfortunately, over the last couple of years, I don't feel like we've been able to do as good a job as I would have liked. And there are different reasons for that, and we'll talk about those, some of those in just a few minutes. But our external public relations plan, we need to really develop one and to implement one of those for our district. Now, what does that look like? Well, different people have different opinions, and incoming public relations manager has some ideas on that, and I'll mention some of those later in what he's talking about. But this has been one of the least successful areas during my term as public relations manager. Well, public relations, when you think about the term, the second word is relations. And what we need to do is develop relationships with media outlets around the district, so that when we have an idea that we want to pitch to them, they will be ready to listen to that idea and possibly write a story or take the news release that we have written and put it in the newspaper, online, maybe do a radio spot, whatever. Examples would be contest winners at the area, division, and district level, but especially at the district level, and possibly elections of officers at the district levels. And if someone doing something related to Toastmasters that is of interest to the outside general public, someone doing something that might just strike a chord from a human interest perspective. Now, for example, Sherry Wood has done this at the club level. We had Al Eddington, who had a stroke and then came back to be a speaker in Toastmasters. Fourth thing here is our under here we have our public facing website. We really need to do something about the public facing website. As I mentioned, it was an embarrassment 2 years ago, and it's lain dormant for 2 years, and we really haven't done anything with it. We need to develop a strategy for that. And we need to continue our social media posts for external communications. Next, we need to figure out how to better support our club vice presidents of PR. So in this proposal, I would suggest we utilize our D40 website for materials and suggestions. We have some there, just beat that up. And then also have periodic town halls, maybe monthly, with our vice presidents of PRs. So let them share the challenges and the successes that they've had, and also provide an online forum for them where they can have question and answers and idea sharing. But there are a couple of things, 3 things here that we do in the public relations arena right now in District 40 that we need to move to other groups. That would be the technology team. Does it really fit under public relations manager? Not really. So we need to move that responsibility somewhere else. I suggest we create a district technology manager role and have that report directly to the district director. Zoom administration is another thing that we inherited during the pandemic, and really that doesn't fit under public relations either. So let's move that. And I would suggest we move that under the new district technology manager role. And the PRM, I currently do talking points for clubs, area directors, and vision directors. We need to move that to the administration manager, because that's more internal communications that really is under what we do in public relations. So to recap, we need to continue the good things, the news bulletin, the website, the monthly newsletter, the social media posts. We need to develop an external PR plan, public-facing website strategy, and we need to move technology, Zoom, and talking points elsewhere. Ed Shanley, the new PRM coming in, says, we built a foundation. He wants to build the rest of the castle. So I'm not ready to give up the throne yet, but when he ascends, I wish him all the luck in the world. Madam Toastmaster.